Michael's already introduced me. My name is Buff Waters, and I can confirm his accusations about standing on the side of the stage. Sorry. Raise your hand if you are shy, if you don't like stages, if you would rather people look at somebody else. Yeah, well that was me. That actually still is me, believe it or not. And like Michael was saying, I too was asked to join the band by the grace. And I spent the first practice tucked behind the curtains way off to the side. And I'll do you one further. The very first Sunday that I ever played, I stood on the stage the whole time, had my guitar volume completely off. I was scared to death. I didn't want to hit a wrong note or wrong chord, anything. I couldn't, all I could do was just stay up there and play, but I had my volume all the way off so nobody knew whether or not I was messing up or playing the right thing at all.
Explains a lot. This is the first I've heard of this.
Yeah, I don't do that very much anymore. But that's been almost, 4.5 years ago now. And look at where I am today now, just by kind of breaking out of my shell and allowing myself to be put on the stage where I didn't want to be. I was the kid who you couldn't get me to talk to 5 people at once. I mean, I would have a one-on-one conversation, but if there was a group of 5 people in a room, I just sat there. I wouldn't say a word. I was never one to be able to get up and talk. And now, we talk about faith journey, and ever since I started playing guitar on stage, I started playing when I was about 18 years old, and I played for several years just all by myself in my room. I never went out with other people or got in a band or anything like that. I just enjoyed playing guitar. And it wasn't until I was asked to join the church band. And it's funny where you say where you knew you were supposed to be. I had sat in we have our service, our contemporary service is called the Life Song service. It's very similar to what you guys have here. And I sat in that service for 2 years probably. I would go there with my wife and my kids and sit through the service, and I watched these people up on that stage, and I don't know what it was, because I hated stages. I hated being in front of people. But something was drawing me up there. Something was pulling me to get up on that stage. And it wasn't until one of the girls in the band asked me to join that I knew, wow, sometimes God calls you and he doesn't just say, hey, Bob, come here. He slaps you upside the head with a brick and says, hey, come here, dummy. I got something for you. And this has been one of the biggest blessings in my life, to be able to get up on a stage and share his word through music and song and play. I think about, I don't know if some of you notice, sometimes when I'm playing, I'll close my eyes and just kind of drift off. I know where I'm at in the song, but I'll just kind of drift off with my eyes closed. And I always think about David playing his harp to God. If you read in Psalms, David would often just go off into the wilderness with his harp and just sit down and play. And, play to nobody but God. It wasn't for anybody else. And, that's how I feel. I'm not playing for you guys. I'm playing with you to God. It's lifting up praise in song and worship. Excuse me. But going back to the shyness thing, all it takes is for you as an individual to let yourself be afraid. Fear is what guides us to do great things. If everybody just sat around being afraid of doing something all day, nothing would ever get done. We'd have never gotten to the moon, and we'd have never had all these great, wonderful gadgets like iPhones and stuff like that. I mean, people just were afraid to do anything. So I encourage you to at your age especially, try new things, branch out, and do things that you never thought that you would do. Because I can attest to you, later on in life, you still do those things. You try new things, and it's great, it's wonderful, it's a blessing, one of the biggest blessings that you can ever have. Like Michael said, he and I have kind of almost been on this journey together, although we're not, walking hand in hand down the road. We're taking parallel paths, and we oftentimes bounce things off of each other and run into each other. And hey, what do you think about this scripture? Or hey, what do you think about this or that? And it's wonderful to have somebody like that you can get together with, and just he and I with a couple of guitars, and the next thing we know, we got 3 songs written and ready to start performing. We're doing a small sample for you guys tonight of the stuff that we have done, of our own. I do encourage you to go to, is it YouTube or the Facebook page? Go to the Facebook page and check out the videos, because you'll get to see a lot of the other stuff that we do. There's a full band and drums and all kind of stuff, electric guitars, and really jamming out. And it's really more geared to kids your age and kids my age. Yeah, I still consider myself a kid. Dick can attest to that. But the writing music thing is a wonderful outlet. It's something that I didn't really know that I had in me until I really just sat down and started doing it. It's not just picking up a guitar and playing a song. I mean, I'll be riding down the road and have a thought of a chorus or something, and just like I have to stop my truck and jot it down real quick, or get my phone out and hit my voice recorder and sing into it or something, just so that I can remember those things. And then when you sit down with it, it's amazing how God just brings these things out in you. The song that we're going to do next is the second song that we ever did together, total. And I wrote the lyrics, Michael wrote most of the music, but it was one of these, I call them God moments, like yours with the reading the song thing. I was riding down the road and I was looking out at the road, but in my peripheral I could see the woods. One time I said that, and I said I was looking off into the woods while I was driving down the road, and that's not safe. Don't do that. But I was riding down the road. I have about a 20-minute ride to work every morning, and I have to drive down these country roads. And off to my side, there's this beautiful, pristine section of woods that it looks like human beings have never set foot on it. It's just beautiful. All the trees and wildlife, and it just is amazing. And it got me to thinking about, God's creation and how we so often want to try to put God in a box and say, well, this is, grass is green because, or frogs go ribbit because. And we refuse to accept the fact that God just made these things. And it's for us here to enjoy, not to figure out. It's for us to enjoy and take care of. So this song is called "Is It Any Wonder?" Because like I said, in thinking about it, it got me thinking. Is it any wonder that God created all this? Why do we have to wonder about it? Why can't we just do it?
You see the beauty He created always amazes me. Forests full of life, and rivers ever flowing, oceans filled with beauty. The wind is always blowing. So deep and trees so tall, how many gifts must we receive before we realize? Learn just to believe. creatures that run and birds take flight. Why do we question or seek answers for? We need just believe, 'cause it's all yours. Is it any wonder you created it all? Oceans so deep and trees so tall. How many gifts must we receive before we realize just believe? Then just believe. Then just believe. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is it any wonder we created it all? Oceans so deep and trees so tall. How many gifts must we receive before we realize is it any wonder you created it all? Oceans so deep and trees so tall. How many gifts must we receive before we realize? Then just believe. Then just believe. Then just believe. All the rest of our band's coming on. I'm going to put somebody on the spot really quick. This guy playing the box drum over here, I want to introduce him. He plays the bass guitar too. This is Andrew Doolittle. Come on up here, Andrew. Everybody say hi, Andrew. Andrew, come on over here. Tell them how old you are.
And tell the truth here, church.
14. Drew's 14. Let me tell you a story about Drew. This is great. Basically, Drew, his dad attended our church service, and they had said something like we needed a bass player, but then we had this other kid who would flip-flop back between bass and drums, and he couldn't decide what he wanted to do. So Drew comes up to me one day, and he's like, I want to play bass. So, oh, you play bass? How old are you? 13. Ooh. Let me hear you play.
My thought was, yeah, right.
So we heard him play, and he was fantastic. And you know, he's grown with us. And when we're talking about writing music and how we're expressing ourselves, but there are other ways that you can fulfill your purpose with God. We have found our niche, but God may have a different calling for you. God equips us with the skills that we need to do the things that He asks us to do. And it's with those skills and gifts that He gives us that whenever we put them in the right place, whenever we have our heart in the right place and set on God, it's amazing the blessings that occur from that. If I wouldn't have been on this journey, I probably wouldn't be standing right here being able to share this with you guys today. So we just had a couple questions to ask Drew because, you know, we thought you guys would connect to him a little bit better because he's a little bit closer to a lot of your age. So we thought we'd put him on the spot a little bit, ask him a few questions. One of the questions I want to ask him is, why Christian music? You've got the talent, you could be out there doing secular music, like Taylor Swift type stuff, you know? But instead he chooses to do this. Why, Drew?
Well,
The song again.
I don't like to do what all my friends are doing, and I wanted to do something different.
Okay. Good answer. Wanted to be different.
Play any kind of music that he wants to, including bluegrass.
Yeah.
He's started to play a banjo now, so add that to his list of talents.
But I had another question for Drew. We've been talking about how music is more of our means of serving a greater purpose. But I want to ask Drew, you know, when he is not up here on stage, how do people look at you and how do they know that you're a Christian and you're called by God to do this when you're out there about in the world?
Well, considering I'm in 3 bands, I spend my whole weekend at the church, so I'm always at church. That's one thing.
Okay.
And I always try to make a difference at school.
All right. Good answer. Good answer. He's as shy. He's like us when we first started. Like he's really shy. So we try to throw him under the bus every now and then. Just toughen him up, give him thick skin, right? How'd he do? How'd he do for his first time standing up? Look at that. We love you. All right, we're gonna come on. We're gonna play.